The perfect game was in play. I mean, he was pitching well enough to get it done. He wasn't getting in 3-ball counts again, just like he did against Cleveland last week. I only recall 1 3-ball count, but I wasn't paying as close attention as last time on that. But he's really just working the strike zone really well, and he's throwing with such ease. He looks so comfortable out there and even keeled. Really was an impressive start from Eduardo Rodriguez. 2 in a row now. He's looking like the guy they wanted when they signed him. Hopefully he can kind of keep this going and make himself an asset moving forward.
I kind of like to look at the bigger picture of things, and with him having such a good start to the season, but also being 30 years old, having that opt-out, has your kind of opinion on his future with the Tigers changed at all? Or like, what are your guys' thoughts? Is he still likely to not be on this team next year, or like, do you think it's worth keeping him around as a veteran?
There's no way he stays. I mean, if his ERA is under 5, he's gonna go to free agency. He's pitching lights out, and I think he's going to be traded. I've always thought he was going to be traded. There's always going to be a veteran pitcher that the Tigers could pick up to help a young rotation. And I think at this moment, Eduardo's a perfect candidate to get a haul for Scott Harris to get his first haul in the trade market. So
it's going to be interesting if he can continue pitching to this level or close to it. I mean, obviously, the last 2 starts, he's been phenomenal. I mean, if he regresses a little bit from that, I mean, no one's going to blame you there. But if he keeps pitching well, let's say, and nicely competitive throughout the summer, the big hope the Tigers obviously need is to be able to generate interest from multiple teams. So there's a couple of bids out there for him, and teams jockeying for position to bring him on. Because if he's just a guy who's pitching mediocre and only 1 or 2 teams want him, the fact that he's a rental, if he opts out, it's going to be kind of a tepid return. But if he's pitching, to a relatively close to all-star level, and 3-4 teams need a pitcher, and even better yet, 1 or 2 of them need someone who they'll give the ball to in a playoff game, then yeah, they might be able to do something fairly attractive.
But I don't know, because I think my opinion on it's kind of has changed, because I've looked at the free agency market for the upcoming class. It's really nothing special. And I think for the Tigers, obviously, Miggy's contract's coming off the books, Scope's contract, Matt Boyd, Michael Lorenzen, you're going to have to pay somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to need starters this free agency unless someone takes a step forward, or how much trust you have in Mize, Manning, and Skubal to stay healthy. At this point, he's already been here. We don't, know how much he likes being here, but why not pay him and keep him long-term to be that veteran? I mean, who else are you going to pay? You have to, have a respectable rotation next year. And unless there's another guy in free agency that you can really look at, I think you bring him back. And then maybe if he has another good year, maybe you look to trade him then. But I think they're going to kind of need a veteran leader for this rotation for the years to come.
You'd have to either let him opt out and re-sign him,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't happen too often, but I guess it could happen. Or you'd have to preempt it with an extension, right? So are you willing to tack on, I don't even know, I'm not a GM, but 2 years? Well, what would be enough to entice him to stay?
Well, if he opts out and let's say we want to re-sign him, he's making $17 million a year, so he has 3 years, $51 million left on the table. Would you be comfortable paying him 3 years, $60 million? I mean, he's only 30 years old right now.
Oh, he's on a very reasonable contract, so yeah, if you bump it up to $20 million a year, that's fine. But depends how well he's pitching and what he's going to get. Now, like you said, what hurts the Tigers there is a lack of competition on the market. There's not that many other good pitchers out there, so he'll be able to command the top rate if he keeps pitching well.